Hey, welcome. I'm Lorelei of Namasturm Yoga. Today we're going to do a level 1 Vinyasa Yoga practice. Let's go to our mats. Welcome. So today we're going to sit at the top of our practice so you can come to an easy cross-legged position. Try to align your spine, move the shoulders back a little bit, bring your hands to your knees. Take a second to adjust if you need to, but then try to come to stillness and maybe close your eyes, tune into your breath. So we are going to do a Vinyasa practice today. And I know some people think of Vinyasa as being sort of more of an advanced yoga practice, but it really doesn't have to be. Vinyasa really is just moving or flowing with the breath, and the poses that we choose and the transitions that we choose really have more to do with the level of the practice than the flow itself. So today this is going to be a level 1 Vinyasa Flow Yoga practice, meaning we're going to flow. It's going to be pretty continuous, but we're going to try to focus on the basics. So some simple poses that even a level 1 yoga student should feel comfortable with. And we may do a few slightly more challenging transitions, maybe into some balance poses, but it's not going to be anything really complex or that should be too hard for anyone. So do the best you can. As always, you can take breaks in your yoga if you need to. And yeah, let's go ahead and just take another second here in the seated position to notice how you're feeling today. And this is also where we can establish that breath that we're going to be moving with throughout the practice. So start to transition to your ujjayi, which is the narrowing of the back of your throat. It's just a little bit of narrowing that creates enough friction so that as you breathe in and out, you can hear the air as it moves. You should be able to hear your own breath. You may not be able to hear mine because it is pretty subtle. But we're also trying to set up a nice, even, steady rhythm for the breath. So we get a pace, something we can follow. Once you've got your breath ready to go, let's move to hands and knees, and we're going to start very simply with cat-cow pose, or cat-cow sequence, really. We are already flowing in Vinyasa here. So inhale to cow pose, head and tail lift, chest and belly drop, and exhale to cat pose, arch the spine, let your head come down. And then really we're just going back and forth, and this is really the most basic Vinyasa flow practice. Just these two poses, very simple, and they might even be small right now. So don't worry if you're feeling tight or stiff, if it's early in your day and you haven't moved too much yet. This is where you start to warm things up and also just check in and see how they're feeling. So you might notice, oh yeah, my back is feeling a little stiff right in this part, or my shoulders, or my hips are feeling whatever you're feeling, my neck. Just notice what you notice. Don't push or force. Just have this little bit of movement come in to start to warm things up for you. And then just little by little, we're going to add on to what we've already got going. So we're going to inhale again to cow pose. And then this time as you exhale, you can start to round your back, but then drop your hips to your heels, come all the way to child's pose. We're going to inhale back up to our tabletop. Find that cow, which is a little bit of a back bend. Exhale, arch the spine and drop the hips to the heels. Child's pose. So the movement's a little broader, but we're still following the pace of the breath. The breath really is the leader here. So we don't want the breath to change rate every time we change what movements we're doing. Ideally, the breath stays at the same rate throughout, and we allow the movements to fit that structure. We're going to add in again. So this next time you come to cow pose, tuck your toes, move to downward facing dog instead of child's pose, but it's a small one. We're going to bring the knees right back to the floor with shoulders over the wrists, and then alternate to child's pose on the exhales. Inhale to cow. exhale to down dog. And you may not be going at the exact same pace as me. Inhale, knees back to the floor. And exhale, child's pose. And if you're not, that is fine. So follow the pace of your breath. If you're breathing faster or slower than me, you will also be moving faster or slower than me. Let's hold in the next down dog you arrive in. So if it takes another breath or so for you to get here, no problem. But when you get to down dog, root the hands down into the floor, lift the hips up, and just take a little time. Bend one knee, let the opposite leg straighten. Try to keep your neck relaxed. So we're working out the backs of the legs. In down dog, the foundation of the pose is really the hands. So make sure your fingers are spread and the entire underside of your hand is on your mat. And it's actually tractioning on your mat to press forward so the arms strengthen up and the hips lift up high. But you're at a diagonal, so the hands, the shoulders, and the hips kind of all line up. And then the legs just drop down from there, and the knees might be very bent. And then let's walk the hands back to the feet. So we're just going to let ourselves come to a forward fold at the back of the mat. Your heels should come back to the floor. Keep the knees bent, and we're going to slowly roll up to standing. This first one, take your time. Maybe take a moment to roll the shoulders back and down. And you can stay at the back of the mat. I'm just going to turn to face you for now. But we're going to flow a little bit from standing. So we're going to inhale, reach the arms out and up. If you want, you can bring your palms together and look up. Exhale, swan dive forward over the legs. Come to standing forward fold again. Bend the knees, roll all the way up on an inhale and reach the arms. And then exhale, flow back down over those legs. Bend the knees, inhale, roll up. So now we're working through the whole spine. Exhale, forward fold. And we're going to add on a little bit here. So this next time you come on up, rolling all the way up, grab hold of your right wrist with your left hand and exhale over to the left side, little side stretch. Inhale back to center. Exhale, swan dive forward over the legs. Bend the knees at the bottom. Inhale, roll on up, and we'll go the other way. So grab your left wrist, pull yourself over to the right on an exhale. Inhale, back up. Exhale, forward fold. We'll do that one more time each side. So bend the knees. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, pull on the right wrist to go left. Inhale, up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, over to the right. Inhale, come on up. And exhale, forward folding. And then from the forward fold this time, let's walk the hands out to plank pose. So just allow yourself to move the hands, and the shoulders are going to kind of stay over the wrists. Walk yourself out nice and long. Try to level out the shoulders with the hips. Reach the head forward, so keep your neck a little long here. Push through the heels. Make sure you're still breathing. And then we're going to take the knees down to the floor and then carefully lower the chest down to the floor between the hands. And then let's just come up and down a few times into Cobra. So with the hands next to the chest, elbows by the sides. Inhale, peel the upper body up. And exhale, lower it down. So this might start off very small. So maybe you're just coming up to a little baby Cobra. And then exhaling, letting yourself drop down. Inhale, you can start to take weight into the hands if that feels okay. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, press up, flowing with the breath. Exhale, lower down. And then this last time, we're going to inhale and hold up. Now notice if you tend to shove the shoulders forward of the chest, see if instead you can move the shoulders back, even if it means you can't be up as high with the upper body. The low body should be completely relaxed here, so the legs, the hips are on the floor. And then from here, let's tuck the toes, lift the knees and hips, and move to downward facing dog again. Root into the hands, lift up the hips, move your heart back, and breathe. Down dog is a resting pose. So as we go through vinyasa, sometimes we'll hold here just to take a little break to tune back into our breath. But if this does not feel restful for you and you feel like this is a pose you struggle in, you can always take your knees to the floor and sub in a child's pose to get a little bit more relief in your practice. Now from here, inhale, look forward between the hands, and let's step or walk to the front of the mat. This time, let's bring the big toes to touch, heels slightly apart, and then fingers to shins. We're going to take a half lift, so nice flat back, reaching the head away from the tail. Really long spine here. Breathe. Pull the navel in. Move your shoulder blades onto your back. And then exhale, fold down over the legs, and then we're going to reverse swan dive. So earlier when we were at the back of the mat, we were rolling up. Now we're like floating up with a long spine. Exhale, take your palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, take a long forward fold over the legs. Inhale, take a half lift. Now let's take the fingertips to the floor and just simply step the right foot to the back of the mat, lower the right knee down. And we're gonna just start to add some additional poses in here. So this is just a low lunge, letting the upper body come up, sink the hips forward toward the front heel. Now you might find that your hips are way over that back knee, and that's okay, but as you get deeper, the hips move towards your front heel. However, we still want that knee to be over the front ankle. So if your foot and knee are too close together and you notice your knee coming way ahead of your foot or your heel even lifting, see if you can make an adjustment so that your foot is far enough ahead of your back knee that as you lunge, your shin is still pretty vertical. And then we're going to take the hands to the ground around the front foot, step your left knee back to meet the right, and slowly lowering down. So the elbows stay over the wrists as you lower. Don't collapse the hips, rather move the chest between the hands. And then inhale, float up into a little Cobra pose. And exhale, we're back to downward facing dog. So we're using the vinyasa sequence, which is where we go from basically a plank, and then we lower down, and then we take a little back bend, and then we go to down dog. We're using that for our transitions here. Inhale, look forward between the hands. Exhale, step, walk, or if you want, you can hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, take a half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold over those legs. Press into the feet, reverse your swan dive, come up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart, and let's flow through again. We're going to take the other side. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Bring your fingers to the floor, step the left foot back, so other leg, lower your left knee down. If this is hard on your knee, you can fold the side edge of your mat, and then you can put the knee on the doubled up mat. But if you've got a good thick mat, you may not need to do that. Coming up with the upper body, sink the hips forward toward the front heel. Again, make sure your knee is over your ankle and not ahead of it. Take the arms up. If you want to, you can lift the chest, maybe bring palms together and look up. Breathe. And then placing your hands on the floor, step your right knee back to meet the left. So we're not really in a full plank here, but we're in kind of that half plank with the knees down. And so from here we can lower to the floor. Inhale, take Cobra pose. And exhale, down dog. And that is like the vinyasa sequence within this vinyasa practice. Inhale, look forward between the hands. Exhale, bend the knees to step walk or hop forward. Inhale, take a half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold down over the legs, and then press the feet down, rise up. And palms together in front of the heart. We're gonna keep changing it up a little here. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold to Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. This time we're just gonna step the right foot back. So take that right foot all the way to the back of the mat And instead of lowering the knee, we're going to take a high lunge, so crescent pose. Again, make sure your left knee is over your ankle and your back leg is strong. So when we had the knee down, obviously the knee was on the ground and it was bent. But now with the knee off the floor, we want to straighten out that back leg and stretch through the heel and then float the upper body up, requiring a little more strength and stability. Gaze ahead of you at a single point to help with your balance. Again, reach through the back heel and then maybe just a little bit of core engagement. So try to pull your navel in. Make sure you're still breathing. And then take the hands to the floor. And now we can step fully to plank because our back knee is lifted. As we step the left foot back, both knees are lifted. Reach through the head, reach through the heels, strong through the core. And then to come down, you can lower your knees, lower the chest. Inhale, take Cobra pose. And exhale, downward facing dog. And again, this is the pose where we rest. We'll only take a couple breaths here. But if you need to bring knees to the floor and do a child's pose in place of down dog, just a reminder, that is an option. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, bend your knees, step, walk, or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding down. Reverse the swan dive. And palms together in front of the heart. And we got the other leg to do. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fingers to the floor, step the left foot back, and then theoretically we just inhale right up to high lunge. But if you need to take a moment with the fingers on the floor to get strength in that back leg, to make sure your shin is vertically aligned, to do any little adjustments with the low body, take your time and then come up when you're feeling ready. Gaze ahead of you. Strong through your core. So sometimes we forget that this is part of almost every pose, is just a little engagement of your deep abdominal muscles. Take your hands to the floor. Once again, stepping to plank. And if you want to take chaturanga up dog, you certainly can for a more advanced practice. But I'm just going to lower with the knees down and take Cobra pose, which is perfectly good. It's, it's sort of the beginner form of the Vinyasa practice. Moving to down dog, take a moment to hold. Inhale, look to the front of the mat. Exhale, bend the knees, step, walk, or hop the feet forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, and then coming to reverse the swan dive, come all the way up, palms together in front of the heart. And we are certainly ready to take a sun A. So just one simple sun A here. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Now instead of just stepping one foot back to a lunge like we've been doing, we step both feet back, come right to plank, and then lower down. Inhale, take your Cobra pose again, so it's the back bend. Exhale, down dog. And we can hold for a couple breaths here. Sometimes I'll hold just for one breath in down dog in the middle of a sun A, but you can hold like up to 5 breaths, which is pretty classic. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop the feet forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold deep. Let's reverse swan dive. Come on up, palms together in front of the heart. And let's just take one more just to kind of get familiar with this sun A sequence, which repeats so often in yoga practices. From forward fold, inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then as you step to plank, try to keep the neck and spine long. Lower yourself down. Inhale, take Cobra. And exhale, again, downward facing dog. Take a couple resting breaths or take child's pose. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Now, let's go ahead and we'll come up to standing. So reverse swan dive, come on up, palms together in front of the heart. We're gonna come to chair pose here. So chair is Utkatasana. Feet are together, heels are slightly apart. And we're gonna just bend the knees directly toward the toes and think about dropping the tailbone straight down toward the floor as if you had a chair behind you and you were just gonna I'm just gonna sit into that chair. So that's sort of the idea. And then the arms reach up alongside the ears. Let's take a couple breaths. See if you can move the weight more to your heels, and that will actually make it a little easier on your knees, but you should feel this in your quads for sure. That's what's working here. One more inhale. And then exhale, take a forward fold over the legs. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step to plank. So like a sun A again, we're going through. Take your back bend. Come to down dog. Now we're going to take the right leg up into the air and find a down dog split position. So the toes are flexed downward. The heel is right above the toes. The thigh faces the floor. And the idea is that the diagonal of the leg matches the diagonal of the upper body. Look forward between the hands, and this time we're going to try to step that foot all the way up. If it gets caught in the middle, use your right hand to help you, but see if you can get it forward so it lines up with where your hands were. Now, before coming up, we're going to take warrior one. So we're going to step the left foot a little to the left, pivot the back heel down. Front knee is over ankle. Float up, warrior one. And we're starting to build in some standing poses, but we're going to continue to use the flowing practice to move from pose to pose so that it has a sense of continuity, continuous steady flow. Lunge into your front knee. Try to keep moving your left hip forward, so avoid the temptation to just let your left hip rock back as you keep your left heel down. From here, take your hands to the floor. And again, flowing, lowering down. Take your little back bend and down dog. And we'll take the other leg up, so take your left leg into the air. The toes are flexed down, root into the hands, reach through the heel, heart back. Down dog split, diagonaling the body here. Look forward, step your left foot forward. Step your right toes a little to the right to help you pivot your right heel down without, so the right foot's still on the right side of your mat, the left foot's a little on the left side of the mat, and then come on up. Find your warrior one. Try to get the hips to square forward, which means when the right heel goes down, it tends to want to pull the right hip back with it, and we want to counter that. Reach the arms up. If you'd like, you can bring your palms together and look up, if that doesn't throw off your balance or your lunge. One more inhale. And then exhale, hands to the floor. If you are getting tired of this vinyasa sequence, you can just go straight to down dog. So just skip this part where we do that and just take an extra breath in down dog when you get there. That's fine. Inhale, look to the front of the mat. Exhale, step, walk, or lightly hop the feet forward. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, fold, and then we're going to come through chair pose, Utkatasana, and then let's straighten the legs and come to standing. So we're going to start to add in a little bit of balance practice here, and we can use that to flow in and out. We're going to start with tree pose. So I'm turning to face you, but you can still stay at the top of your mat. We're going to stand on the right foot and take tree, Vrikshasana. Sole of the left foot comes to your calf. Slightly more advanced, you can move the sole of the foot to your thigh. Foot to the knee is not the intermediate version, right? That's the version we want to skip no matter what, just because it's not super safe to press the foot against the knee from the side. So have your foot either against your thigh or your calf. Bring your palms together in front of the heart, and then find a single gazing point, something you can look ahead to help with your balance. Take the arms up if you can, if the balance is good. If this throws off your balance, you can keep your palms together. Now you're at the top of your mat, so I'm going to turn back to the top of my mat, and I'm switching which side I'm working off of just because of the poses that are to come. But now what we're going to do is we're going to bring the palms together in front of the heart. We're going to take the left foot off of the right thigh and pull the knee in. And we're going to start to reach back towards warrior one. So you're going to bend your right knee, reach back long for the floor behind you. Inhale to warrior one. So we've just transitioned. Exhale, let's open to warrior two. So front heel and back arch line up now. Level out your hips, shoulders over hips, arms at shoulder height, and look over your front fingertips. Breathe here. From warrior two, we can take a reverse warrior. Note that the low body doesn't change, but we're going to keep our gaze with the front fingertips and let the upper body reach up and back. Back hand just comes to rest lightly on the back leg. The top arm has a little bit of an arc to it, but we don't want like a sharp bend in the elbow, right? So we want to keep that sense of flowing energy through the arms and fingertips. And then from here, cartwheel the hands down to the floor. Step to plank, lower down, and you can take the vinyasa. So we're just flowing from poses into sequences, trying to just connect all of the dots. Holding in down dog, breathing. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop the feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, flat back half lift. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Bend the knees. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. And then straighten the legs, come to standing. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, I'm turning to face you, but stay at the top of your mat. Standing on the left foot this time, the sole of the right foot will come to your calf or above the knee to the thigh. The toes are right down from the heel, so we don't want to have the foot turned to the side. It really is vertical, and then the right knee opens to the side. Hips stay level, shoulders are over hips. Bring your palms together. Set your gazing point, and then if you can, you may choose to take the arms up. Make sure you're still breathing. And then we're going to make that transition. So your palms can come together in front of the heart. You can bring the right knee into the chest and flex through the foot. Then I'm just going to turn back to the side of my mat. We're going to push the foot behind. As you're reaching the foot behind you, start to bend your left knee so that once that foot goes down, you can just reach right up into warrior one. And then exhale, open to warrior two. So you do need to adjust your back foot going into warrior two because now we want the front heel and the back arch to line up. And the toes are turned slightly more open in warrior two than they were in warrior one. Left knee over ankle, right hip across from the left. Hips level, tailbone down. Don't let the tailbone jut way behind you. Shoulders over hips, arms at shoulder height, look over the front fingertips. So the alignment of these poses, we try to build them from the ground up. So this is a standing pose. The first thing we focus on is the foot position. Then we think about our knees, then our hips, then our shoulders, then our arms, finally the head. Turn that top palm up, reverse warrior. So every bit of us is a part of the pose, but getting the grounded parts in place is going to help support the parts in the upper body that get included. And then hands to the floor, move yourself through a vinyasa to come back to downward facing dog. And again, we know down dog is our resting pose. So we're just going to hold it for a couple of breaths. Make sure the ujjayi is continuous. From down dog, inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, and then coming through chair pose again, Utkatasana. Straighten the legs, come to standing. Let's go ahead and build in a warrior three. So we're going to stand on the right leg. You can keep your palms pressed together. As you start to move the left leg up and back, the upper body counterbalances, trying to keep the line of the body from the heel to the head and attempting to level out with the floor. Do your best, the best you can here with the balance. Keep breathing. Typically the gaze is downward on this pose, but if you need to look up a little to help with balance, that's okay. Keep the shoulders on your back as you reach through the heel. And then bend the front knee, and we're going to step back to Warrior One again. So lightly place the back foot. Inhale, Warrior One. Exhale, open to Warrior Two. And I know I'm turning away from you in this sequence. Inhale, reverse warrior, and then we're going to come into triangle pose. So straightening out the front leg, front heel and back arch should be lined up. Let the sides of the body stay long as you bend at this right hip, and then back of the hand against the inner shin, or you can lightly rest your hand on your ankle or shin. Top arm up. See if you can think about moving the low ribs back a little bit and lengthening the right side of the torso. Gaze up towards your top thumb, strong feet into the floor. And then press the feet down, stretch back on an inhale, and then exhale. Once again, take your vinyasa if they're still working for you. Lower down. Inhale to Cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog, and take a resting breath or two. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop to the top of the mat. Keep it flowing. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair, Utkatasana. Exhale, straighten the legs, come to standing. And we're going to go to the other side. So standing on the left leg, start to lift the right foot behind. And as you lift, keep pressing through the heel. So imagine that there is still something underneath or against the sole of your foot, just as there was when it was on the ground. Reach through the head, reach through the heel. Finally, if you can, try to keep the hips level so that your right thigh is still facing down. Head reaches forward. And then to move on, bend your left knee, reach for the back of the mat with that right foot. Inhale, Warrior One. Exhale, open Warrior Two, and we've been here. Adjust the feet. Inhale, reverse warrior, and then straighten the front leg to move into triangle pose, Trikonasana. So in triangle pose, the goal is not to just get the upper body as low as you can go, right? So I could easily let my upper body kind of just collapse down towards my leg, but the intention actually is to extend. So we're extending the limbs, pressing the feet down, lifting the arms away from the center, and then the torso extends as well. So it's not just about going low, it's really about finding full expression and extension of the shape. Inhale, come on up, stretch back, and vinyasa again. So hands to the floor, stepping to plank, lower knees, and then chest. Inhale, Cobra pose, elbows by the sides. Exhale to downward facing dog. Again, resting here or in child's pose. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, take a half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. And we're going to come to chair pose here, Utkatasana. And then we're going to actually lower to the ground. So see if you can get your hips down and maybe float into boat pose. And if you needed to use your hands to do that, that's fine. So if your hands had to come to the floor, you can then bring your hands behind your thighs, roll your shoulders back, and then lift your shins, and then let the hands come out. Finding some balance here, but also some work for those deep abdominals. Now from boat, we're going to lower to the ground. So bend the knees and just roll your spine down. Plant the feet slightly away from the hips. And then we're going to flow a little on our back. So inhale. Reach the arms up and over as you roll your spine up off the ground. Exhale, return your spine to the ground, one vertebra at a time. Inhale, coming on up, like a little bridge pose here. And exhale, rolling down. Try to articulate the spine again. This should feel pretty good. Inhale, come on up, moving into the back bend. Exhale, lower down. Keep flowing, following your breath. Inhale. And exhale, lower. Go ahead and bring the knees in. Let's see if we can rock, find boat. Do the best you can with that. And then we're gonna bring feet to the floor and come back to chair pose. And then straighten the legs, come to standing. We're gonna throw in another balance pose here. So I'm gonna move to the other side of the mat, but you can stay again at the front of your mat, and we're gonna take half moon. So feet together at the top of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, forward fold Uttanasana. And then we're gonna take half lifts. We're gonna come to Ardha Uttanasana, flat back, reach the head away from the tail. And then from here, the arms drop down from the shoulders. If you need to use a block, you could use a block under the right hand here. Otherwise, just bend a little deeper until the fingers come to the floor. If that's too much in your hamstrings, you might need to bend your knees a little bit. From here, with both sets of fingers on the floor, lift your left leg straight up behind you. So the leg should feel like where it was in Warrior 3 at this point. But then we're going to keep the right hand on the floor, take the left hand to the hip, and while balancing, see if you can turn your body open. Push through that lifted heel, stack your shoulders, stack your hips. And now the toes, instead of being flexed down, are flexed out to the side. Maybe take the top arm up and breathe. Half moon pose. Now, as we step out of this pose, because our body is open, we're going to step back to an open pose. So bend your front knee, reach your back foot back, and we just come to Warrior 2. Inhale, take a reverse warrior, and let's take extended side angle. So forearm to the thigh, top arm overhead, alongside the ear in a diagonal. You can look up under your arm towards your fingers if you'd like, and breathe. And then float up. Let's go ahead and parallel the feet and take Prasarita Padottanasana here. So outer edges of the feet line up with outer edges of the mat. Hands to the waist, long, wide-legged forward fold. Let your upper body drop down. Take your hands to the floor. Try to line them up between your feet. If your palms become flat, then your elbows might start to bend. Keep them over your wrists. Lean forward, lift your quads, and let the backs of the legs open. Relax your neck. And then take your left hand over to the right leg. Grab on right around the shin if you can. Take the right arm up and twist. Reach the head away from the tail. Nice spinal twist here, trying to elongate the torso as you do it. And then continue to pivot towards the front of your mat. So plant your left hand, pivot your right foot, plant your right hand, come onto your back toes, step back to plank, and once again, take a vinyasa. Breathing in down dog. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And let's come to chair. We're going to do the same sequence we did earlier. So from chair, see if you can get those hips down and float into boat. Extend, breathe. Find your balance here. And then we're going to come to the floor again. Lowering down. Inhale, roll on up. Exhale, roll down. And you can continue to flow up and down if you'd like, or this time, go ahead and roll up and then keep your hips lifted as you bring the arms back to the floor, and either upper arms press down, forearms point towards the ceiling, or if you can, walk those shoulders underneath your upper back. See if you can interlace your fingers. Press the feet down. Knees should be over ankles and toes pointing forward. So don't let the feet go too wide or the knees splay out. Press the feet down, press the arms down, lift up for bridge pose. And then go ahead and get the arms out of the way to slowly roll back to the floor. Bring the knees into the chest, take another rock. You can roll a couple of times through the spine if you'd like, but we're gonna roll back to boat. Just find a moment of balance if you can. And then feet to the floor, coming to chair. Straighten the legs, come to standing. And we're gonna do our standing poses on the other side. So again, I'm just gonna walk to the other side of the mat, but you can stay at the front of yours. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, forward fold Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift Ardha Uttanasana, and once again, bringing the fingers down underneath the shoulders, but trying to keep the spine long. Start to float the right leg up, so we're standing on the left leg this time for half moon. Start by just pushing through the heel, reaching the head forward, and then take the right hand to the right hip to turn yourself open to the side. Do the best you can with this. Sometimes one leg is more challenging than the other. We'll try both sides, but just notice if that's the case for you. If balance is easier on one side, maybe take that top arm up, extending long in all directions. And then remember, we're gonna come out to warrior two, but try to make this a nice, smooth transition if possible. Bend your left knee so that as you reach your right foot back, you can just land it at the back of the mat, come right up to the pose. Inhale, reverse warrior, and then extended side. So forearm to the thigh and top arm moves overhead alongside the ear with the palm facing down. Breathe here. And then floating up. Once again, let's parallel the feet. And we're gonna do a second variation on Prasarita. So interlace the fingers behind the back if you can. If you can't get those hands together, you can put like a towel or something between them to hold them together, or you could just do the same variation we did the first time through. Shoulders back, lead with the chest to fold. Lean your weight forward toward the balls of your feet. Let the head relax. Keep the shoulder blades up onto your back, and then maybe let those arms reach overhead. Breathe here. And then we're gonna let go of the hands. So take them back to the waist, let go of the fingers, and we'll do this twist on the other side. So right hand to the outer left leg, left arm up, twist open, reach the head away from the tail. And then the right hand is gonna come down, again by the front of the mat, pivot onto that left foot. Plant your palms, step back to plank, take the knees down, lower the chest down. Now this time, instead of going right to down dog, we're gonna take Cobra, but then we're gonna stay on the knees and bring the forearms underneath us, setting up for dolphin pose here. So elbows under shoulders. Make sure the elbows aren't too wide. So we want a good, like kind of almost like a triangular base here with the forearms. Press them down, tuck your toes, lift your knees and your hips, move the heart back. Maybe walk the feet a little closer, but we don't want the shoulders to start to move past the elbows, so there's a little bit of a lean back. Relax the neck, the head should be able to hang heavy without touching the floor if you're working that upper body. Try taking the right leg into the air, reach through those lifted toes. And then take the right toes down, switch sides. So left leg up into the air, reach through those toes. And then left toes down, knees down, hips to heels. Give yourself a nice child's pose here. Lengthening it out, the arms can lengthen, forehead can come to the floor. Let's take one more, and I'm going to throw in another variation here, but you certainly don't have to take the variation if it doesn't feel right for you. Same setup with the arms, so elbows under shoulders, interlace your fingers, tuck your toes, lift your knees and hips, move the heart back. So you should feel this as a stretch in the shoulders. Make sure the neck can relax. And then, same as we did before, take the right leg up, but this time if you want to add on, keep your right leg in the air and straight, but bend your left knee, your standing knee, and take some little hops up off your left toes, landing softly, so that bottom leg is a spring, the top leg stays straight. And then switch sides, right foot down, left leg up, just springing yourself up off the ground lightly, couple times through here. And then lower the feet, lower the knees, and we'll take another child's pose. I'm going to give you just a little variation if you want. With the arms extended, flip the palms up, bend the elbows, take the hands to the shoulders, and enjoy a little tricep stretch, as well as a pat on the back. Take the arms back out, and we're going to float to down dog. So if you can, lift your hips, tuck your toes. Return your hips to your heels, lengthen your arms, lift them up off the ground, relax your neck. And then see if you can keep this line of the body from the hands to the hips, but just float your knees up straight to down dog. Let's take the right leg into the air, open the hip, bend the top knee. Variation on down dog splits. Knee points up. Right heel drops near the left hip, and we're transitioning to a pigeon stretch. So we're just going to glide that right knee forward to move it up behind the right wrist with the shin across the mat. Then use your left toes to help you walk the left leg back so you don't end up sitting on the foot. And you want to be on the front of your right thigh with the top of the foot on the floor. Avoid rocking to the right hip, which will also kind of roll the back leg. If you need help, you can support your right hip with a block or even a folded up towel or something underneath there can help. Walk yourself down, maybe propping on the forearms, but when you're ready, you can start to walk the hands out and drop your head. Take it at your own pace, right? So if this is an intense stretch for you, you can always take the weight back to your hands. Breathe. And then coming up, use your hands to support you. We're going to just stretch the back quad. So support yourself with the right fingers. Again, try not to rock all your weight to your right hip, so we're still up. Bend your left knee behind you, reach back with your hand for your foot, and draw your heel towards your hip. If you have a hard time catching your foot with your hand, just leave the legs straight, extended behind you, and just work both hands to bring your torso more upright. So that's kind of the backup plan. And then release your foot, hands to the floor. Step back to down dog. Shake out the right leg or kick through the heel, just to kind of loosen that up. And the other side. So left leg up, open the hip, bend the knee, drop your right heel or left heel towards the right hip. Point the knee to the sky. Shoulders stay level here in this variation. And then bring your left knee forward behind the left wrist. Same alignment rules, right? So use your right toes to walk the right leg back. Avoid rolling to your left hip. And you'll know because sometimes you actually end up rolling to the inner thigh, and we really do want to be on the top of the back leg. Use a block or something under your hip if you need to, and walk yourself down. And as you spend some time here, try to stay with your Ujjayi breath. So even though we're not flowing from pose to pose, there is still a sense of rhythm and flow as the breath continues to work with us and we with it, even through these still deep stretching poses. And then come on up and take a brief moment to stretch your right thigh or right quad. Draw your heel towards your hip. If you can't reach your foot, just keep the leg extended behind you. Breathe. And then letting your foot go. Back to down dog. Shake out the left leg or kick through the heel if that felt good on the first side or if you need it here. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop the feet to the top of the mat, and we're coming to a seat. So we're going to finish up with just a little twisting, a little forward folding. Let's start by taking the right leg out and stepping the left foot over the top. And we're going to twist to the left, so use your right arm either around your left knee or past it, turning over your left shoulder. Use the back fingers to lift your torso. Keep your right foot flexed if you can. Breathe here. And then coming back to center, let's take Janu Shirshasana. So sole of the left foot to the inner thigh. Angle your body towards the right leg. So Janu Shirshasana, meaning knee to head pose. But instead of thinking of trying to get your head to your knee, think rather of like elongating the torso so that your head is going in more in the direction of your foot, even though it'll probably never actually get there because, you know, our leg is usually longer than our torso. Breathe here. Let your hands just be where they fall. So if your hands are here, but you're getting a good stretch for your hamstring, then great, stay here. If you can easily reach the foot and that's comfortable for you, that's fine. But try not to strain with the arms or the shoulders or the neck. Just let it go. Keep the leg toned, but try to ease in here. Enjoy your forward fold. And then slowly use your hands to walk you back up, and we'll just take the other leg. So left leg out, starting with the twist. Step your right foot over the top, knee is up. Use your left arm around or past the knee, twisting over your right shoulder. But instead of like putting a bunch of weight on that back hand, instead bring it right behind you, push down to help lift and lengthen the spine. Keep your left foot flexed and turn. You can turn your head if it feels good, but honestly, the head is sort of the last piece, so don't worry if you don't turn your head too much. And then untwist, and we take the sole of the right foot to the inner left thigh, and again, engage, so quads active, foot's flexed, angle the body, and fold. And as with any asymmetrical pose, you might notice that one side is different than the other. We'll try to give the same amount of time and attention here to this other side, but don't force it to become something that it's not. So pay attention, be mindful. Keep flowing as you breathe, in a sense. And then coming up carefully, let's cross the legs. I do encourage you to take a Shavasana at the end of our shared practice together. So just lay out on the floor, give up the weight of your body to gravity, and enjoy being effort-free in stillness for a few minutes. For now, let's bring palms together in front of the heart. Maybe close your eyes, tune back into your breath. So as you can see, we can practice Vinyasa, even just using basic poses. So hopefully this felt good. It's a little bit of playful flow. Let's close our practice with a simple bow forward. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining me in my home and sharing another practice. Namaste. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit notifications so you know when there's going to be new yoga videos you can practice along with. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I will check that out as well. Take care, and I'll see you next time.